There's no feeling more intense than starting over. It's the opening line to Bennett Foddy's magnum opus, Getting Over It. And I'll admit that line is pretty hard to top for an opening, which is why I'm using it. Recycling it, rather. I can do that. It's only fair. I mean, this entire game is created using recycled assets, other people's work. Digital trash, as he calls it. That's the point of Getting Over It. It's what makes it unique from anything else. A criticism of digital trash. See, this game is from 2017, a time where the internet was in its early stages of enshittification. While Foddy presents this as an homage to Sexy Hiking, a B-game made of found assets, it's really more like an interactive art piece of that culture. A culture that is made of trash, as he says himself. Because all of these assets that are in the game are analogous to the memes, posts, videos, and comments of that time. Content which still exists, but rarely, if ever, gets access today. Just existing, sitting on a drive somewhere. Perhaps never to be looked at again. Listen, this video isn't going to have many fancy edits or cool graphics. It's just you and me, creator and audience. If that isn't enough for you, I understand if you click off and go watch someone else's video. But I promise I'll try not to take up too much of your time. I know what you're thinking about the title, AI and the Futility of Foddian games. What is this even about? Well, let me start you off with a question for you to think about. What is art? I know, it's a simple, somewhat pretentious question, but I want you to sit with it as I go through what I have to say. You see, Getting Over It was the first in a genre we now call Foddian-like games. Games that are about the developer assembling some type of mountain or obstacle course, usually leading up, with many difficult challenges that ultimately lead the player to fall back down to where they started and lose progress. These games are static. There are usually very few or limited systems that are only there to let the player reach the top. Whether it's the man in the pot with the hammer, or the man with two hands, or the kid with the jump, or the man with the roller skates, the climb is the focus. No resources, no life, no time, no score. The man and the mountain. You versus the creation. That dynamic has a certain maddening quality to it. You can only really blame yourself for any mistakes you make, and the controls are often unintuitive or finicky. Players tend to get stressed out quickly and leave. Its bitterness as a game is the attraction, and many people delegate the work of playing it to watching other people play it, which is valid, of course. The climb is supposed to be difficult, because without challenge, the game would have no meaning. See, Foddy was both kind and wise enough to provide a philosophical dialogue with his creation, something for the player to attach to while they try and fail over and over to reach this next part. It's his way of explaining why he made this, how he could make it easier, and how each aspect of the game you see and touch fits together. What other games in this genre don't understand is that Foddy was limited by the trash he could find online. Those 3D models, music, and pictures that were salvaged and pieced together from the digital landfill we call the internet. This pipe, right here, has specific geometry someone else already modeled. To change it, to adapt it to a specific problem, defeats the point of the endeavor. It was his own mountain to climb, to figure out how to place all these objects in a specific way that was possible, but still difficult. When you build one of these games from scratch, you're not allowed to have this relationship. Everything is tailor-made to the vision of the creator. If the umbrella is too big or too small, you just change its size to fit. But even if you didn't allow yourself to do that, you still make the assets that the future version of yourself implements. There is no unconsensual third party. The process of creating the trash mountain and getting over it was the art that was produced within the final product. It's still made of other people's trash, but it's his arrangement and philosophy that gives it meaning. That's the unique angle of Getting Over It. It doesn't matter what it's made out of, what assets it uses, because this game is the terminus of the concept. Foddy writes, "For years now, people have been predicting that games would soon be made out of prefabricated objects, bought in a store and assembled into a world. And for the most part, that hasn't happened, because the objects in the stores are trash. I don't mean that they look bad or that they're badly made, although a lot of them are. I mean they're trash in the way that food becomes trash as soon as you put it in the sink. Things are made to be consumed and used in a certain context, and once the moment is gone, they transform into garbage. You can't make games with other people's assets for the reason this game exists. Once it's made, it's only useful for the context it exists in. It's used, consumed, played with, and discarded. You can use the same assets between games if they're close together, like Doom and Doom 2. But making a generic asset that anyone can buy and use in their project is to skip the contextual part and go straight to the garbage. It's why asset flip games are so loathed and looked down upon. Nobody wants that. Nobody wants a game made of other people's generic work. A genuine game made of garbage. It's disconnected, misshapen, dissonant, unshaven. Even what people perceive to be the greediest game studios on the planet still make brand new assets for each game, rather than pull from an asset warehouse. Nobody does it this way. So why would using AI be any different? Getting Over It obviously doesn't use any AI, because it predates it. But what he's saying right now applies to the use of generative AI all the same. An LLM is trained on data, sorted, filtered, and tagged, so that anyone that can read and write can make it produce something they ask for. But whatever it produces is already someone else's work, ripped from the context and thrown into this stew where it mixes with all the other work like it. All an AI model can produce, in essence, is trash. Stolen or discarded, recycled from the landfill of the internet. Trash and treasure, all in equal measure, filed together from Rembrandt to Escher. If Foddy had an AI that could just generate the entire game for him from a command, then the game would just be another piece of garbage spit out the pipe. The process of creation is stripped away, removed, unused, discarded. To make a product for no one, generic and uninteresting. It's waste, and a waste. He writes, "Everything's fresh for about 6 seconds, until something newer beckons, and we hit refresh. And there's years of persevering disappearing into the pile, out of style, out of sight. In this context, it's tempting to make friendly content that's gentle, that lets you churn through it but not earn it. Why make something demanding if it just gets piled up in the landfill, filed in with the bland things?" Now, garbage is not inherently without value. There is value in garbage, but only for garbage purposes. It depends on what the onlooker finds meaningful from the trash. Garbage can be used to teach, for education. Even if something barely works, it will still follow the principles, right? Those principles are a treasure within the trash and can be used to make something good. Garbage can be used for content because content can be anything that fills your time. Are you content with the content you consume? Or do you weigh the cons and pros for each video? Are lessons learned truly earned if you never yearn for that time you burned? There's only so much time in a day. So many days in a week, a month, a year. Earlier I asked you to think about what art is. The art is in the process. When a creator makes anything and labors over a project, they imbue themselves into it. From the observable, painting, illustration, literature, music, to the unseen, architecture, family, science, software. Each pursuit is a mountain in which you climb to the top. As you've watched me climb and fall so far, you'll notice a growing familiarity with all the obstacles in the game. The umbrella, the barbecue, the slide, the stairs. They all become incredibly familiar to you the more time you spend with them. You get to know them inside and out. In Getting Over It, the man in the pot with the hammer is the artist, and the mountain is his pursuit. Each swing of the hammer is a stroke you make on the mousepad, painting an invisible portrait that's only finished once you reach the top. You fall, fail, tumble, stumble. But with perseverance, you may reach the summit. I could have cheated you with this video. Used someone else's footage from YouTube, or even had my friend Matt, who's really good at this game, play through the whole thing and just present that to you. A gift from the creator, unwanted, untailored. I did ask him to play it for this part specifically, full disclosure. But this is my mountain, and it's only right that I play through the game myself. It's hard, a very hard game. But it's honestly so much easier than making original work. Every pixel has been worked out by someone else already, and you can look for guides or tricks to get over certain obstacles. When you're making something new though, that's unexplored territory. Every project is a mountain full of small decisions that make up the monolith that those who come to see it witness. This video's script was written and rewritten draft over draft, the voiceover with plenty of re-recordings of words I trip over or mispronounce. It's still not perfect. But using AI to replace it would be robbing myself of the process of creation. Replaced by some generic, a boiling stew of everyone's stolen work poured into one vessel. Nothing original, nothing special. You only need to ask to receive, but what you are given will never be yours. A saboteur for the pursuit of the score, a machine designed simply to make more. It's just trash. Trained data rearranged based on a command. An automatic etch-a-sketch for words, pictures, videos, code, you name it. The only kind of art you can make out of trash is trash art. Trash literature, trash video, trash imagery, trash gaming, trash culture. The only genre a Foddian game can inherit is a trash genre, a one-and-done deal, recycled and remixed. Sometime soon, we might see a Foddian game pop up that is fully AI-generated. Recycled assets, recycled code, recycled concepts. In this sense, it would be the ultimate culmination of the genre. A full realization of the idea Foddy had back in 2017. A game made completely out of trash, derived from a work criticizing the vapid and endless ocean of content hosted on the internet. Made from a machine designed to synthesize and recycle all that is forgotten and unused. It's futile. If you're still watching this, I want to leave you with a confession. Over the first year of producing this channel, I tried to use AI in the production for many of my videos. Anything to make the process easier. But the funny thing is that I never found it made anything I was happy with. Yes, it was structured and had the cadence of something well written or well drawn, but it never really produced anything good. I always had to rewrite or remake whatever it made, which just put me back to where I started. It's just not my work. It's just not game DNA. It's someone else's. Someone else's words or images rearranged to fit my needs. It was garbage. Pleasant garbage, but garbage all the same. So I just end up using what I had written or drawn instead. Unrefined and messy it may be. The funny thing about art is that you can just simply give up, as all the greats have before. Write a script but never produce it. Record footage but never edit it. Paintings have painted, stories have written. AI doesn't do that. It always finishes whatever it starts. There's no writer's block or creative dip for a machine. There's no failure for an AI. Does that mean it ever succeeds though? I've gotten a lot better at doing this over the past year. I've gone from the first script for the finals to what you've listened to today. I've climbed this mountain myself. I may not be a Jacob Geller or an H-Bomber guy or an Xbox Ahoy, but maybe someday I'll reach their heights too. The only way to find out is to keep climbing. If you've made it this far, thank you very much for watching. This has been Game DNA. Stay smart, doubt what you know, and have fun.